Hello and welcome to this 41st episode of the Denver Homes Market Report. This is Ricky.schoonover of Mode Real Estate. Last week, we had a pretty incredible show. We did our regular end of month comparison, where we first look at the home sales, which took place in the most recent past month, which in this case was December. We would then go back to the previous year and look to how many sales we had for the same month last year. What was different about last week was we were able to look at all the sales of 2020 and then compare with all the sales of 2019. With all that was going on in 2020, between the presidential election, the pandemic, and all the ramifications that came along with it, logically, it seemed 2020 was going to be a tough year. And in many ways, it was. And the fallout continues as we work through this pandemic. We are not out of the woods yet, not by a long shot. However, the vaccines are being distributed, albeit much slower than anyone would like. At least there is light at the end of the tunnel. So, with all that was going on, you would think 2019 was a much stronger year for real estate, right? However, we closed 8,210 more transactions in 2020 than we did in 2019 here in the Denver MLS. That is 8,210 more buyers and sellers coming to an agreement on a home as far as price and terms, and then completing the sale and making it to the closing table. That's pretty incredible. There are several drivers to this market, and there appears to be no end in sight. First, the demand. The demand is incredible. As I had mentioned last week, a recent study found that many of the big tech companies are finding that many of their employees can indeed work remotely and not need to be in or even near Silicon Valley or some of the other high-priced coastal areas in order to do their jobs. Denver was found to be in the top 10 of all cities in the U.S. where people are moving to amid the pandemic. So that's one driver. Then you have interest rates. These are not the 3 to 5 year ARMs or adjustable rate mortgages where you lock the rate for 3 to 5 years and then start adjusting from there. No. These are 30-year fixed rates at below 3%. That is giving buyers incredible buying power. Buyers that once looked at buying a home and found they qualified for somewhere around $450 are now finding they can buy a home for upwards of $600,000 and still have about the same payment as when the rates were back in the 5% range. So there are two drivers, demand and low rates. You couple that with scarcity. There are just not very many homes on the market. And when they do come on, if they are priced right and they are professionally presented, they sell pretty quickly. I have a client. She is currently staying with family in Aspen. She is a cash buyer and looking to buy here in the near future. However, with work and life, it's hard to get down to Denver, stay for 3 and even 4 days at a time for house hunting. So I've been working with her, and she is not here in town. I do my best to keep her informed of any home that comes to market that I think she'll really fall in love with. I woke up this morning, checked her search. Just yesterday, a home came on the market. I sent it to her around 8:30 a.m. By the time I circled back, around my morning calls and around lunchtime, it had already changed from active to active under contract. I mean, wow. And this was not a perfect, shiny new home. This is what I would call a legacy home. This home had stood the test of time and, of course, was well cared for and was built of quality. However, everything was very outdated. Needed a new kitchen, new appliances, new bathrooms, fresh paint, new flooring. I mean, pretty much all the finishes needed updates. but it was also priced right for its location and its current condition. I knew it was a great deal as soon as I saw it. I sent it to my client, but like I said, by lunchtime, that home was already pending. The seller and the potential buyer had already come to an agreement and had gone to contract. That is where the market is right now. So, what is the moral of the story? If you have a home and you are thinking 2021 is your year that you are likely to sell, do not wait. Give me a call. Let's discuss your options. If you listen to my podcast, you already know my phone number. But just in case, here, let's put it in your phone right now. Ricky Schoonover, SCHOONOVER, Realtor with Mode Real Estate, 720-688-5110. Put it in your phone now. That way, when you have time to make that call, it's right there and you don't need to go looking for some post-it note or scribble on a notepad somewhere. Okay, I'm not done yet today. I have more to talk to you about. I like to bring you real-world situations as I'm out here in the field practicing real estate. And this is one of those teachable moments. I want to speak to my buyers for a couple of minutes here. So, if you are a buyer and you're thinking you may want to buy a home and you're just not ready yet, if you think if you wait 6 or 8 months, you'll be better prepared, let me assure you, if you call me, I will quickly assess your situation. I will get you in touch with my lender partner, Jackson Riggs at the Mortgage Network, and trust me, in this market, if you are not qualified, I nor Jackson have anything to benefit trying to get you to buy a home if you are not truly ready. So we will quickly be able to answer, can you buy a home? And if so, what does that path look like? Now, just because we determined your expectations are reasonable and financially you are qualified, that does not mean mentally, physically, and emotionally you are ready. So let's explore that aspect just for a minute. I had a couple call me about a week or so ago. They wanted to look at a new build townhouse. So we met there, and unfortunately, the layout didn't quite work for what they were looking for. So I spent a little time with them, asked them a few questions, got a better sense of what they were looking for, and I set them up with a search on my website, Denver Homes Market. And maybe these homes would better fit their needs. We went out the following weekend and we looked at a few homes, but nothing really stood out as like a fall in love or love at first sight. So we decided to regroup this week, take another look the following weekend. Then, while we were gearing up and looking at listings throughout the week online and getting prepared for the following weekend's tour, I got an email from them. And they have decided they are going to wait for about 6 months. Their train of thought at first glance may seem rational and logical. However, I have been in this business, going on 18 years this year. I have seen so many buyers who decide they are going to try and wait, sometimes waiting to save more money or wait to see if, what happens in the market or if the prices drop or etc. There are all kinds of reasons why people come to this conclusion. Now, if you are not physically, mentally, or emotionally ready, that's one thing. I am not here to force anyone into something they are not ready for. However, my very job is to advocate for my clients, look after their best interests above my own, and guide them professionally. So, after reading their email, they first let me know they would stop looking and they were going to circle back around in 6 months. They cited a few things like perhaps the salary would be larger or they could save more money. So I sat down and I wrote them a reply. I first and foremost let them know I was not there to make them be ready and that decision was for my clients to either buy or sell homes is 100% their decision. Every time. I'm not here to force that. However, I also reassured them that when they are ready, I'm standing by to help guide them. I went on to share this bit of advice, which I've learned over the years. I first explained that Denver metro area last year in many areas went up on average 10%. Personally, I can tell you there were many deals that were well above an annual increase of 10%. But for the sake of argument, today we'll use 10% annually. So in 6 months, and quick disclaimer, past results are no guarantee of future results. However, with that being said, if you listen to this show, you already know Denver was recently recognized as in the top 10 of cities people are moving to in all of America. So the trends upward are as far as the eye can see. So let's tackle the age-old barrier of homeownership. And first, let me point out, these clients were financially ready. Good job lined up, 2-person income, much like me and my husband, where one is on a salary job and I work as an independent contractor. Okay, so we think we'll try to save money and be in a better place in 6 months. So let's go through why this might not be the best idea. First, the prices of homes. Let's use a home today being listed for $400,000. Assuming an annual increase in real estate of 10%, so in 6 months, we'll use 5%. So that $400,000 home today will likely cost $420,000 6 months from now. Now, there are instances where that could be much more, depending on the home and the area. But conservatively, a $20,000 increase in 6 months. First, we can talk about low rates. But honestly, from what I can see with the pandemic and the fallout from that, and bringing in Biden and Kamala Harris, I don't see the feds doing much with the rates, not in the next 3 to 6 months. I mean, they might, but I don't see it right now. So let's focus on 2 other aspects. First, you are going to save up money. You would need to, in the next 6 months, over and above your current living expenses, save at least $20,000. So, after your monthly bills, you need to be on average packing away over $3,000 every month. So let's say you do that. You squirrel away every little acorn, you get a nice big tax refund for some reason, you work really hard, and you save up $20,000 in 6 months from today. Congratulations. But the not so good news is all you really did was tread water for 6 months, because that house that 6 months ago was $400,000 is now $420,000. And the houses that are now available 6 months from now, available for $400,000 were the same ones that really weren't that great, weren't really appealing to you 6 months ago when they were priced at the $375 to maybe $380 range. Those types of homes are now pushing the $400,000 mark. Okay, the next point is your current situation. I mean, unless you're living for free. And if that's the case, maybe I wouldn't even buy real estate. Of course, I'm kidding. Real estate has been an amazing tool for me financially. I was not paying rent when I bought my first condo. I actually lived on a boat. But we'll save that story for another day. But my point being, if you are looking to buy your first home and you don't currently live with family for free, then you are probably paying rent for the next 6 months. Now, rent varies, but it's very hard to even find a room for rent in Denver for much less than $1,000. And that would be cheap. So conservatively, you are wasting another $6,000, which could be going in your pocket as equity in your new home. So you wait 6 months, you do all the right things with saving, and somehow you saved $20,000 Plus, you saved even more to outpace your rent, and you were able to save up $26,000. You were still in the same place you were 6 months ago, as far as the market is concerned. Now, here's the kicker. You could have been making that money by way of equity. If all this panned out, you would have closed on your new home about 6 months ago. And theoretically, in 6 months from now, you would have already have been on that journey of building your equity, building your financial future. Now, I know this is a simplistic view, and there are many factors that go into buying a home. Way too complex for me to cover in a 15, 20-minute podcast. However, if you are thinking of buying a home at some point, and you are in that mindset that you are just not ready, give me a call. I cannot convince you as far as physically, emotionally, or mentally being ready. However, I can evaluate your expectations, meaning I'm going to look at what homes are available and what your price range is and make sure those kind of align. The second item I can help you with is connecting you to my lender partner or your own lender if you have one that you like, and getting you pre-approved so you know how much you are qualified for. You know how much money you'll need out of pocket for closing, and you'll have an estimate of what your monthly payment will look like. I can guide you through and help you attain all this information, which may help you with the other aspects, which only you control. Once you know the market, you know your down payment, you know what you can afford, you know the areas you want to live, and they actually have homes currently available at the price you can afford, that might help you overcome your own barriers to homeownership, helping you realize that in reality, you are physically, mentally, and emotionally ready to buy a home. You just needed someone to help guide you. This is a great value to bring to you, being a realtor and in this business as long as I have. Here's the deal. All the information I just walked you through doesn't cost you a dime. Give me a call, 720-688-5110. Let's talk about your situation. It costs you nothing to go through this entire exercise. All you stand to lose is a few minutes of your time. However, you stand to gain so much knowledge and where you are currently, how your situation and your expectations may or may not be in alignment with the current market. Ultimately, once you are armed with the power of knowing you are financially ready, that may help you come to the realization that you are also physically, mentally, and emotionally ready. And you've been so all this time, and you didn't even know it. I sure hope you enjoyed listening to today's podcast. I love when I can bring you a real-world situation that I'm working on at this very moment, because I know my clients are not alone. You may be out there thinking the same thing. Bottom line, right now, in this market, it is very difficult to outsave this current buying opportunity. You may be better off just getting your foot in the door, even if you are just putting down a small down payment. Stay safe out there. This is once again Ricky Schoonover, Mode Real Estate. Be sure to check out my website, www.denverhomesmarket.com. And thank you for subscribing to Denver Homes Market Report podcast. I'll see you next week.